Hi, Bob Roepke again, back at Fire and Ice with Chaska's Fire Chief Tim Wiebe, and pretty special day, Tim.
Yeah, outstanding day. To be able to do it part of Fire and Ice and have a larger celebration,
Right,
and just celebrate the fire department's 150th.
right. That's a special accomplishment. So, Tim, why don't you give us a little background on yourself in terms of you've been with the city for a long time, and then when you moved how long you've been with the fire department, and then moved into the chief's role.
Yeah, actually, born and raised in Chaska, just right across the street here from Fireman's Park is where I grew up.
Yep.
Graduated from Chaska High School. I started working for the city as a part-time employee, and then was hired in 1989. Worked for the Public Works Department, and then joined the volunteer fire department. I spent 20 years on the Chaska Fire Department as a volunteer while I was working for the Public Works Department, and I was very honored and humbled to be hired as Chaska's first full-time fire chief in 2013.
Right. So, Tim, talk about what it was like when you joined, and now you're the fire chief, and what it's been like as fire chief, and the changing role and demands on a fire department, a local fire department. I was a completely volunteer fire department until now.
Yeah, the fire service is really going through a transition period where it was many years ago, was kind of a fraternity type of atmosphere, a place to be part of a social club. And it's really gone from the probably early 1900s to today, where it's a much more professional organization, working scheduled shifts, but still in a quasi-volunteer paid-on-call role. Chaska will run around 1,200 calls this year, and we just don't go to fires. We do a lot of stuff. About 65 to 70% of our calls are medical related. And I would tell you from when I first got on, we went on 250 calls a year. And 29 years later, we're going on 1,200 calls a year.
I'm not sure people appreciate or understand the increased demand on the fire department, in terms of what they're called for and the service you provide.
Yeah, I think we've done a really good job educating the public to, if there is an issue, call 911.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that that has been some challenges where people are calling us for a lot of stuff maybe that they wouldn't have done years ago.
Right.
Lift assist is a good example where they can't need help getting out of a chair, or just real general stuff. So it is challenging, but our job is to serve. Our job is to serve the public, and it doesn't matter what level or what type of call it is. We're going to come out and help you out. I always say there's not a better job out there than being able to help somebody in their time of need when they're probably having the worst day of their life,
Right.
and be able to make a difference.
I saw a picture in the local paper about, you went out on a call maybe a year ago, a couple of calls, and people that are having maybe a heart attack, and you basically saved a couple of people's lives.
Yeah, we were really fortunate on Monday night to have a couple people come back and say thank you, where we were responded for a cardiac arrest, and one was at the community center a few months ago, and one was 2 years ago, where we actually responded, no pulse, not breathing. And those two people are living and walking and talking today, and they were able to come back to the fire department and thank all those involved.
What's been important, Tim, to walk through the change from completely volunteer to one where you have some permanent position, full-time positions, duty crews? Maybe talk about walking through that minefield of change and to where you are now.
Yeah, real quick history lesson. There's the reason fire departments have bells on is that years and years ago, that's how they notified the members that there was a call, where they would ring the bell in the fire station. That went to blowing the sirens when there was a call, to phones that would ring at their house, to carrying pagers. So we still carry pagers today, but we also are incorporating in duty crew shifts where we actually have firefighters staffed at the fire station for the majority of the day all week long. So it might look and feel like it's a full-time department, but again, these people are volunteer, paid on call. They don't get paid what the wages you would think. Typically, it's about $12 to $14 per hour. So it is not about the money; it's about serving.
Right. What's important to be a good fire chief in your mind? What's really key?
You know, I've been fortunate because I've grew up in the fire service. I started, as a rookie firefighter and worked my way up through the ranks, and then was fortunate enough to be the chief. And it's challenging because these people don't have to come to work. They're not required to come to work. And how do you continue to motivate that? How do you encourage that? And how do you understand if people aren't available? I think it's a balance of all that. And I think as long as you use common sense and have a balanced approach, I think it's successful.
Right. Well, they say good leaders inspire, the kind of shared vision of the future, and I think you've done a really good job of that. As you look to the future, what do you see as the major challenges for Chaska Fire, in the next 10, 20 years as you look out there? I mean, there's certainly a lot of growth going to happen and continued demand.
Yeah, I think the growth we're prepared for. I think it's the type of calls is what's ever changing, and the COVID pandemic, we're not geared for that. We weren't, we weren't ready to respond to a pandemic.
Right.
From that to some of the civil unrest, some of the mental health calls that we've been incorporated in. Lately, we just purchased our firefighters ballistic armor. I didn't think I would ever see that happen as my career as being a fire chief, but the world has changed. The demands have changed, and it's ever challenging, but we're up to the challenge to continue to serve our community.
Right. And you connect with other local fire chiefs, right? Periodically get together, you share needs and experiences, learn from each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of networking on amongst the fire chiefs and really the fire departments across the board. Some of the biggest challenges are the recruitment and retention. Who wants to do this work?
Yeah.
Who wants to, work at the fire station a couple days a week, go to training every Monday night, go to all the different functions? It's a lot of time away. And I use the example that, when I first got on, the kids' sporting events were really based locally, either in town or in the metro. And now they're traveling all over the place. And how do parents with kids have time to give back? How do parents have time to give to the fire department with the demands that creates?
Right. We talked about Kendra and Travis earlier in an interview. Really impressive. And they talked about that. They talked about giving back to the community and service and how motivating it was. It was really impressive. And they had a big role in planning today, right, for you?
Yeah, Kendra and Travis did an outstanding job. Jason Button, Matt McCoy, just did an outstanding job helping with the event, and it's not easy, right?
No. It's a team effort.
Yeah, so it all worked out outstanding. Having an event late in October is
right.
It's a coin flip.
Of the dice, yeah,
so
right.
It's I couldn't be happier.
Yeah. Well, today was a day filled with pride. I mean, watching you guys all come over that bridge. There were a lot of you. I mean, active and retired. Had a lot of you over all the years. The bagpipes playing. That's our fire department coming there. Sense of pride I'm sure you guys all had. But we talked about in other interviews that the community, for the community, applauding and it generated that feeling for the hundreds of people that were here today.
Yeah, it was an outstanding turnout by our department, young and old.
Yeah.
And the ones you probably didn't see are all the families
Yeah.
that were in the crowd that were here to be with us. The families are a huge part of our department. Without the family support, the family help, it just doesn't work. So
It's a great thing to mention. Yeah. Well, thanks for all your service. I know the community servant you are, and how you believe in that, the whole kind of human side of the equation of being a good leader, and you've done a wonderful job with Chaska Fire. Thanks for joining us today.
I appreciate it.
It's a great
Thank you
day.
for your time.
You bet.